Now that we've made that pivot table, let's play with it a little bit. Okay. Now remember, this is using data. It's not going to change data. So I can play with this all I want. I'm going to add another row. I don't know if you noticed this, but when I added rows, it's not like the add button goes away. So I'm going to add a row. So I'm going to add rows called, let's go with model. So notice what it did. It's first categorized by make, then it's categorized by model. That is a hierarchy. It's supposed to be that way. If I change this, so if I move one up there, this is going to be a mess because of how it is. So I'm going to go ahead and change that back. So notice under Acer, those are the models that we have. Under Apple, those are the models that we have. Under Asus, that's the model. Under Dell, those are the models that we have. So on and so forth. So that's how that works. You can add multiple types of rows. Let me go ahead and remove that. Or actually, what happens if we drag it down here? This might be a bit of a mess. So now notice under Chrome, those are all the Chrome devices. Okay? Under iOS XXX, those are all the devices that we're talking about. So it does further break down each category. If I switch that up, what's that going to do? That's a bit of a mess. Okay? And notice, the more you add, if you're adding things that have quite a few categories, your table gets very long and it's not very good for summarizing. Okay? So let me go ahead and remove the model. So now I'm back to the table I had. All right, showed you this. If I double click on a value, so I'll double click on this one, the 13. Double click. What it does is it only pulls the data from that value. If I were to count these, if I count those, I should have exactly 13, which the data point that I had clicked on was 13. So notice what it's doing is it's saying, okay, all the devices that are Apple and Mac 1039, I'm going to make a table of just those things. It's almost like it's filtering it out for you. Okay? So that's what that does. You can delete this. So I deleted that. My data set is not changed. There's my data set. There's my table. Now, let's say I wanted to rearrange this. Let me switch my columns and my rows. It just looks different. That's all it is. This will be the exact same data point because it's the exact same categories. When you remove all these, it does disappear. And one of the things that Google actually tries to do is it tries to give you tables that might make sense. So you can go ahead and do that if that's something you'd like to do. If I were going to do that, though, I would count. All right. So just a couple of ways of playing with data tables and the pivot tables. Again, this is not your data, so you can delete it. Your data set is still there. All right. So hope that helps. Go ahead, play with some data tables or play with your pivot tables and see if you can get it to tell you something interesting.